Right then, let's go through the top 5 times I felt my safety has been at risk on a cheap flight adventure. Now just remember, I've done so many cheap flight adventures I've lost count on how many I've done. And I don't just stick to the tourist areas, I always like to go off and explore and often see the rough areas. So just bear in mind that my safety has only been at risk 5 times, which is not much at all. So at number 5 is Barcelona in Spain. You just can't relax in Barcelona. When you're sitting on the beach, you have to make sure you've got your bag right next to you and you're holding onto your bag. If you've just got your bag a little bit away from you, someone will just come and grab it. And don't even think about going in the sea and leaving your bags on the beach. Your bag will not be there when you get back. And that night in the Ramblers, I really felt like I couldn't stop walking. It felt like as soon as I stopped to look at something, someone would be trying to pickpocket me. And especially when you see people walking around the streets with a coat going through the pockets, then just chucking a coat on the floor, and it's a new coat as well. They just nicked it and were going through the pockets to see what they could find. And Paris in France actually does feel a bit like this, but not as bad. In Paris, you get the people trying to tie string to your finger as you walk past, and if you're polite and stop when they do it and they get a bit of string on your finger, they then demand money for their services. But Barcelona is much worse than Paris. And number 4 are the Hammer guys in Warsaw in Poland. I was just relaxing in an abandoned building. I went in the motorroom filming the motors, and then suddenly the Hammer guys came flying through the window with their hammers about to strip all the copper off the motor to go and sell it. Yeah, luckily they weren't actually interested in me, but if they'd somehow thought I was a threat, they could have turned nasty. That could have gone bad. You never know who you're going to meet in abandoned buildings. Number 3 is Dublin in Ireland. Me and John were on a bus when suddenly the people behind us told us to be quiet, and we weren't even being loud. I thought this was very rude, but then the people behind us then offered us drugs. They were off their head on crack. Me and John then went downstairs to avoid these people. This somehow completely offended them, and we did not realise the situation had turned nasty at the time. And when we got off the bus, we were just blissfully unaware, walking down the streets, not realising the situation we're in. And by the way, this was at midnight and all the streets were fairly empty. And then we suddenly realised these people were following us. We walked faster, took some corners in the street and looked behind, and they were quite a distance behind. They were definitely still behind. They were definitely following. So me and John then ran, and we noticed that when we ran, the people behind also pick up their speed. So yes, they were onto us, and this got very scary. We had no idea what these people wanted, but these were proper crackheads. They were properly off their head on drugs, and we only eventually managed to lose them when we finally jumped on a train, which they weren't able to get on. That was scary. And at number 2 is Casablanca in Morocco, Africa. In Morocco, there's loads of these little market towns called Medinas, where there's loads of people about. Everyone's trying to sell you stuff. It's jam-packed full of people. In these places, I really felt like there's lots of pickpockets about. But I didn't have a problem since I kept my bag close to me. Then I went on a tram to the end of the tram route to a beach in Casablanca. And this beach looked like nothing special. It certainly did not look anywhere near as intense as the Medinas. But it turns out I was in a rough area of town and I didn't realise. And the scary thing about this is I did not realise there's a problem. I was walking along the beach and this boy and his horse, he was pretty much dragging his horse along the beach, came up to me and he said something to me. I was assuming he was saying something along the lines of, do you want to ride my horse and give me some money for it? And I was like, nah, and I carried on walking. And then he walked up to me and suddenly tried to snatch my phone out of my hand. And the scariest thing about it was how unexpected it was. I had no idea he was about to do it. And it was so sudden. He was walking next to me, then he suddenly moved really fast trying to snatch my phone. And the unexpectedness of it was really disconcerting. Even though he was only 10 years old, the reason why this is at number 2 on my list is because there's a lot of these people on the beach, and if they'd all ganged up on me, it could have gone really nasty. And after he failed at trying to get my phone, he then told me I was not allowed in this part of the beach, and if I carried on walking, someone would come and strangle me. And it wasn't just them lot on the beach, there was ordinary people there as well. Some starting to think he didn't like me there because I was European, like anti-white racism or something. I don't know, it's quite scary, but luckily I managed to get away. And number 1 is Benidorm in Spain. Now in most places they say don't go down the rough areas because someone will mug you. Well in Benidorm it's the other way round. Don't go down the tourist areas where all the pubs are. There's lots of people mugging people about. And they're not doing it discreetly or hidden. They're completely blatant. And they work on the basis that 1, they only mug English people. They don't mug Spanish people. And they only mug people who are completely drunk and will not remember them. So if someone's had so much alcohol, they're just stumbling along and they're not thinking straight. These tough guys will just walk up to them, snatch their bag and run. And no one will even notice they've done it. And a lot of the Spanish people actually slightly sympathise with them because they really hate English people getting drunk and being sick everywhere. So Spanish people don't report them, they don't mug Spanish people, and the English people don't remember them, and the police don't really care in Spain if an English person gets mugged. They're only interested in their own people. And these people are very aggressive, and one of them almost mugged John, but then he suddenly realised that John wasn't drunk and wasn't on his own, and he suddenly backed off. But this could have gone very badly wrong. And even if you're not drunk, if they've mistaken you for being drunk, or I think you're an easy target, they might still mug you anyway. So it's best not to go down tourist areas on your own, and it's definitely not a good idea to go drinking in the tourist areas. But hey, that's pretty much the reason why most people actually go to Benidorm is to get drunk. So my advice is don't go drinking when you go to Benidorm. But pretty much you're probably there to go drinking. My advice is only take as much money as you need when you go drinking. Don't take any other possessions on you. Literally just have the money you're going to spend and nothing else.
Good, I'll take that.